So then I proceeded to get two DUIs in college, 6 months apart. But like, don't forget about all the times I drove in a blackout, right? Like, didn't get caught for those. These are just the two that I was on the hook for. So the judge, it was 3 months till I graduated, and he was like, I'm going to let you go back to class. I don't want to mess up your college. He's like, but you will report to jail the day after you graduate. And everyone's off going partying, having their fun. And I like literally reported to jail the day after I graduated college.
And here we are with Tara Motter. Hi, Tara.
Hi, how are
This,
you?
this is like a reunion for us.
I know, we're so overdue. It's like a girlfriend catch up, but like on air.
I
So,
know. I know. I saw your sober content on the gram, trying
yes,
to learn what
yes.
to call it if I want to sound really young, like the kids.
I know, but I'm like, yeah, do I call it IG? I don't know. Like, whatever
Yeah,
we
we
want.
got to be cool. But you are posting sober content and I met you. Well, you'll tell the story of pre, but when
Yeah,
I met
sure.
you, we were both sober people.
Yes.
Had that in common.
Yes. Yeah, so we met when I was like going through some rounds of IVF, and then I took your class during my pregnancy. And then yeah, so that was super fun. But so yeah, no, I years ago when you wrote your first book, Sippy Cups Are Not for Chardonnay, I somebody gifted it to me and I was like, this is my new Bible. Like I'm gonna be a drunky fun mom. Like this is great. It was like the OG mommy wine culture, and I was like signed up for it. I bought everyone the book, and then I got like, nap time is the new happy hour, and I'm like, this is me. Like we are the same. And then life goes on, got drunker, and I was like in and out of recovery rooms, and I don't, and then like moved to California when I was 18 months sober, maybe 7, 8 years ago. And then, yeah, I was at lunch with a friend, and at the last minute, she was like, can I invite another friend? I'm like, sure, whoever, I don't care, more the merrier. And we got to talking, and she said she was in a writing group, and I'm like, oh, I got to get back to writing, like, and she's like, yeah, it's with this gal, she's an author, she's a friend of mine, said your name. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, she's your friend and she's sober. I'm like, yes. I'm like, I want in on this class, and so it's just so full circle to be like, because we're both like, ew, mommy wine culture. I don't know about that anymore, but to like be on a better path. And so I've
It's funny
loved you for a
because
long time.
I it look, the whole edgy wine mom thing, it's still a personality. Like if you separate it from the actual drinking, right?
Hmm.
Like this is the thing I was so afraid of when I got sober was that I would lose my personality and I wouldn't be fun. And even if you look back at that book, yes, there are so many alcohol references and so much of me being like, you're not cool if you don't drink like me, which is
Right.
ridiculous. I was, you know,
Yeah.
in my late 30s writing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there were also a lot of jokes that were just like, it's important to find your tribe. And it's sad that a lot
Yeah.
of people found their tribe by going like, drinking is my tribe. And I do feel a little guilty that I somehow gave everyone permission to be a drunk mom, which was obviously not my intention, but it's where
Yeah.
my head was
You do
at.
got to let that go for sure, because, people are going to choose to be like that or not, whether they got the idea from you or a book or like whatever. And hopefully some of those people like me follow your career and your trajectory and are like, "Hey, maybe I want to take a look at my own drinking now." And but I also think you like gave everyone permission who used to be like that to, look at their relationship with alcohol now. So if you haven't thought about it that way, for sure, because it's like yeah, if we thought we were like the cool girl drunks, before, like now it's like this whole sober movement, sober curious, like all this stuff, like especially living in LA, right? It's like it's okay to be sober here, like which I'm so grateful for, right? Because I, got drunk in lots of other cities. So it's funny, I'm going, like I was telling you before, I'm going on my first college tour with my son next week. And I used to live in New York City. It was like the scene of the crime, like literally and figuratively. And I haven't been to New York sober ever. I'm coming up on 9 years sober next month. If all goes well, thank you. I plan on it. So it'll be interesting to just see like what memories come up and like literal memory lane of like, ooh, gosh, I don't think I'm allowed there. Hopefully most of those places have closed. I don't know. But
Well,
it's been
we should
interesting.
get into some of that because one of the things that I love about you and your writing is your bottom is kind of low, right? I mean, if we're being
Yeah.
honest.
Oh, yeah.
But
Let's please.
like everybody, it can't be low enough, right? It's like you still
No.
had that thing that I love that you discussed so honestly in your writing, which is like, okay, but just because this is going on, that doesn't mean that I can never drink again. Like, let's be
Right. Like,
realistic. Like, it's that thing that happens a lot that we talk about a lot in meetings where it's always sort of everybody else's fault. And
yeah,
what I love that I want to get to, but I want you to take me through it, is
sure.
the moment where you're finally like, okay,
Okay. The
I
jig is
give
up.
up.
Time is up.
Right? So take
Yeah.
us through what was going on in your life and how that came to pass.
Yeah. So, I mean, my bottom maybe wasn't even my last bottom wasn't even necessarily my worst, but it was, it was just like another in a series of wake up calls. I, to be totally honest, and I don't think I've spoken about this on camera. I woke up in jail after a first date, not for the first time. As I've joked with you, it was also our last date. Um, poor, poor guy, wherever
Shocking.
he is. He was like some high school football coach or something in Chicago. Anyway, it was a Wednesday night. Like that's what I do on a Wednesday night. Like I Irish goodbye in the middle of our date. As the story goes, I don't know. I don't remember. It was not a brownout. It was a full blackout. They explained to me what happened the next day. I believed them. Sounds like something I would do, but I had no zero recollection. So I wake up and I again had been there before. So I was like, I don't need my phone call. I'm sure I'll be out by noon. Um, and I was not. I was definitely not out by noon. A whole series of events. I've written about it before about what that day was like, and I just was like stewing in my own shit and trying to figure out how I was going to get out of this mess. Like it wasn't like I woke up and was like, I'm ready. Take me. I went to
Well, you'd
meetings
been sober
begrudgingly.
before.
Yes.
Before
So that's
this, you'd been
yeah, I
sober.
could talk about that too. So, I
Yeah,
mean, I
do.
mean, starting back when I was 17 years old, the first time I ever got drunk, I got in a massive car accident. I had had a couple wine coolers before, dabbling in that, but I had had my car for 3 days, just like my $1,000 car. And I was at a party with my cousin, and I left in the middle of it, didn't tell anyone where I was going. I had got this is how old I am. Somebody had paged me, and I called back on the house phone. Whoever that is still remains a mystery. I have some ideas, but I left, and it was like a Wednesday night, the summer before I was going to be a senior in high school, and yeah,
No
I got
good things
into
happen to you on a
no,
Wednesday,
no,
apparently.
no. Oh my gosh, right. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I had never made that no more Wednesdays for me. But yeah, I got in a horrible car accident. I had 280 stitches in my face. I ran into a van full of school children on their way home from a soccer game, and everyone was okay except for me. My seatbelt broke across my chest. I hit my face on the glass, and I woke up. And once they finally told me like what happened and everything, I was immediately indignant. I was like, what's the big deal? Nobody else got hurt. Why is everyone so concerned? Like, also, can I have a mirror? And they're like, no, no, you cannot have a mirror. You're gonna be a little horrified. I'm like, and I had to go to the bathroom at some point, right? So I like the foggy little mirror in the hospital bathroom, and I was a monster. Like this eye was swollen shut, this eye I could barely see out of. Um, and I knew I would drink again. Like I just was like, I had really bad luck. Like who does that happen to on their first time getting like fully drunk? No one, right? But I'll tell you, I graduated with 580 kids. No one else had that story on day one of, our senior year. The rumors of like, oh, Tara was did this, and people were hanging off the freeway overpass. They were not. Like it wasn't all that serious. I mean, it was serious. It was very serious. But I just like was like, I did not take it seriously whatsoever. They made me go to meetings because I was not yet 18. And so my parents could have made me go to like an alcohol treatment program, but my dad made the decision like he's like it was just like a fluke thing. She's not like she has some problem. It's not like she's like has a pattern of things. And we talked about this all these years later because he's like, I felt so guilty. Like your life would have been so different if I would have made you do X, Y, and Z. And I was like, oh no. No, no, it wouldn't. I would have hated you. I would have drank at you and I still would have kept going. Like so as soon as I could get to college, so I probably calmed down for a few months until maybe the bandages were off my face, but I drank like that from day one. I was always an alcoholic. It's no one's fault, but it's my decision if I want to do anything about it. But it took me years. So those were like my first meetings. Like people have these clear memories of their first meetings. I don't. I don't know. I probably was like, sign my card. I gotta leave. And I was 17. They were probably like, what are you doing here? So then I proceeded to get two DUIs in college, 6 months apart. And when I went in front of the judge for the second, he was like, I had barely blown, right? Like I was like a point oh 0.08 for both. So I was like, oh, you guys are overreacting. I had two glasses of wine. But like, don't forget about all the times I drove in a blackout, right? Like, didn't get caught for those. These are just the two that I was on the hook for. So the judge, I remember him saying it was 3 months till I graduated, and he was like, ma'am, I don't get a lot of people in here who look like you. So that I took like, yeah, I'm special. Like, and he's like, it's your lucky day. I'm going to let you go back to class, go continue with I was interning at the Minnesota Senate at the time for, for state senator. My life was a dichotomy, like walking dichotomy. So he's like, you are going to graduate. I don't want to mess up your college. He's like, but you will report to jail the day you graduate, or the day after you graduate. No passing go, no $200. You get
From
your
a
ass.
point oh 0.08?
Yep, because it was two in
Oh, the
six
second
months.
one. Okay, so the second one, he said
Because
you're
he's like,
gonna
obviously you haven't learned your lesson. You think you're above the law. I'm like, oh yeah, I did think I was above the law. But so then so after, so you graduate and everyone's off going partying, having their fun, and I like literally reported to jail for 10 days the day after I graduated college.
10 days.
And
You must have been like 21.
yeah, I was exactly 21, and I was exhausted because like most people have like 12 to 15 credits in college. I had 21 that last semester. From my internship and all these things, and I didn't have a license, so to try and get around to like my college was an hour and a half from where the state senate was, and so it was a mad mess. So I slept for 10 days, braided people's hair, like read Danielle Steele novels that were in my cell, and that was that. And then I'm like, well, maybe I'll move to New York because I can't get a DUI if I don't have to drive.
Oh my God,
Like,
that is the best alcoholic thinking. I can't tell you how many
so
people I've talked
true.
to that went to New York because they're like, no
Like,
driving.
let's go. Like, it
Now,
was,
let me just ask you this. What did your parents say? Okay, so they thought it was a fluke when you were 17, but when you got
yeah.
two more, did they know about it? Did you tell them?
Yeah, they definitely knew about it. I didn't call them. They were not my calls. I remember one of them was my professor because I was like got arrested at college, and I was like, you had to call someone sober and that you had their phone number. Well, I don't have anyone's phone number. I don't have anyone's like number memorized. Who does? And cell phones were just starting to be a thing then. And so I like had to use the phone book. And I'm like, my friends, your college address is not listed in your phone book. Okay. I didn't know any of this, but she had a very unique last name. I'm like, certainly she's in. And she, to her, and I had two finals in her class the next day. She came and picked me up. And I was like, I'm not drunk. Like, I'm like, doctor, I won't say her name. I'm like, I'm not drunk. I'm like, it was just bad luck. Again, bad luck. And she like put me to bed and gave me saltine crackers and water. And she's just like, don't come to class tomorrow. Like, I was like, I was up studying late and I just had two glasses of wine. Like, and she's like, uh-huh. Okay, but like we'll figure it out later. And we did. We figured it out later. I took my finals eventually, but not that day. So it was like
Wow.
21.
Okay. See, this is
But yes,
like I
it's
didn't even know
wild.
about this. So
Yeah.
this is a good indications. But you're only 21. So you're like, there's
Yeah, I'm
just
like,
no way
that's
that
like,
this
there's
is
no way.
it's all a fluke. Yeah,
Like
it's
in
bad
meetings, when
luck.
I see people get sober before they're 21 or they're just barely 21, I used to be like resentful at them. Like, you don't even know. Like, you don't know what life is like and how things. I'm like, okay, meanwhile, you hear them talk and they're like, well, I've been drunk since 13 and this and this and this happened. I'm like, and then I'm like, oh, baby, thank God. Like, thank God. I'm like, and then maybe I was just jealous that like I couldn't get my shit together sooner. But then all these other things wouldn't have happened if I didn't go in the right order, right? So like, proceed to like be persona non grata at places in New York, and I worked at a big law firm, and so we worked hard, played hard, like partied hard, and all the things. And when I started feeling like I was wearing out my welcome, and I, got arrested two times there, just being drunk, trying to like be rude to a cabbie or whatever, and I mean all the things. So I decided that
Well,
I
hold
wanted
on.
to be back in
Just
the
being rude to a
no,
cabbie doesn't get you arrested.
no, like it was like I think what was the second one? I don't even remember. Like I'd literally have to like look myself up. I mean that's how many times these things have happened. Like one time I punched a bouncer. Like just I mean, had no business. Like who am I? Like this big giant dude. Like and my friends were visiting. One of them was a bridesmaid at my wedding this year too, which we have conversations about that night. But she was like, she had just got married at 21, like came to New York with her in-laws, like her sister-in-law and stuff to like have a fabulous weekend with her like college roomie. And I get arrested and they didn't know. So like we're supposed to meet for brunch the next day and I'm a no-show. So like I ruined their weekend because they were just like searching for me, like wondering if I was okay. And they finally like thankfully she knows me. She like eventually called jails or whatever and figured out where I was and it was awful. Like so I
Oh
was like
my
so
God.
embarrassed. Like
But you're 21. Again, that's the theme, right? You're
yeah,
only 21. So you continue drinking. Now you're, yes,
continuing
law
drinking.
firm.
Yep.
Things are good. I'm guessing people drink like you drink. I
And if
just
they didn't, I
also,
didn't want to be around them, right? Like I
yeah,
surrounded myself, like I just posted about this too. Like I surrounded myself with people who drank like I did, and especially at least one or two people who I deemed were like worse than me. Because like I can't be an alcoholic. She is the alcoholic. Like please, like, and God love anyone who dared to try to like even mention like maybe taking a look at my drinking. I will cut you. I will cut you out of my life. Bye bye. Like that's it.
I had a
Like
friend that I talked about in my book, Drunkish, uh, who
I
was
remember.
my person that I was like, okay, whenever he would drink, after two drinks, his personality changed. He started kind of slurring, and it was like, oh God, there he
Here we
goes.
go.
He's such an alcoholic. Whereas I could look at myself and go, well, I don't, my personality doesn't change. Like I get friendlier. Like I make out with random guys. Yes, I do some
Sure.
stuff I regret.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sometimes get in arguments with people or, and throw up the whole next day. But that's not alcoholism. That's
Yeah.
alcoholism. Isn't that so classic that we all do that?
Well, I always said, I'm like you're two kinds, like when you drink, it's like you either puke or you black out. I was a blacker outer. I never puked. And I was like, I just wish I was a puker because then I could like keep the party going and understand and like know what's going on. Hello, everyone. There's a third type of person who drinks, a normal person who like whatever that is, I guess, but like can have two glasses of wine. It didn't even occur to me. I was like, there's two. There's two. No. There's three and four and five. Like there's people going to have a glass of wine or two and just be done. Like it was, and it wasn't every time. So that's for me, like I had like an alter ego. Her name was T-Rex, deemed in college. That was like, who's coming out tonight? Like if T-Rex is coming out, she is not invited. This was like an ongoing joke in my friend group. Still it is. And and I'm like, okay, well, because we didn't know like if it was two drinks or the 20th drink. Sometimes I would just have a blast and not ruin your wedding, or I would just tie it on and just be a clown. Like and everything was about me, just making a scene, telling people they weren't good enough to talk to my friends. Like I would dress them down. Like if you didn't make my drink fast enough, I would let you know that you probably should have gone to college and maybe you wouldn't have to be a bartender. Who am I to say that stuff? I was a bartender. I was a server for years, like even after college. My first job in New York was like at Outback Steakhouse in Chelsea. Like it's not glamorous. Yes, there is an Outback in New York, or there was. That's the next question I always get is like, there was an Outback in New York? I'm like, there was two. And then I
Now I
started
want to
working at a
bloom
law
an
firm.
onion.
Yeah. Oh, who doesn't? The best.
Okay, so so you get arrested a couple of times while you're at a law firm. Do you
No,
almost get fired?
not at that one. That's later. That's my last drunk. I was working at a labor and employment law firm, and they were like, I found out later that they did know where I was at the 2 days that I no called, no showed to work. But they couldn't fire me because it's like they'd already run background checks on me, like all these things. So I moved to Chicago. So like fast forward, I was like, okay, I'm done with New York, everything's fine. I'm like, I want to move back to the Midwest, but not, I'm from Minneapolis. I'm like, I don't want to move like home to the Twin Cities because that's too close. So I'm like, the guys are really tall in Chicago. Like, let's go there. Like the guys are
Also,
too
lots
short.
of public transportation.
Tons of public transportation, not as short as the guys in New York. Sorry to my kings in New York, but and I just fell into like a total party group. Like that's what it was. Like it was like they weren't like real friends for the most part, except for one. And I just started it all over there. And then my then I became pregnant and had my son when I got pregnant at 29, had him at 30. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be an adult now. Like I'm in a serious committed relationship with an amazing person and let's see. And so he didn't really, we weren't dating all that long. So he really didn't know like
He
all the
didn't know
wreckage of my
T-Rex
past
as
as, oh, he
much?
had not met T-Rex yet. He had not. Um, and so, he knew I was a party girl, but like I'm a proper mother now. So like let's not do that. And like, 2 weeks after I gave birth, one of my girlfriends came to town. It was just like off to the races a little bit. And he probably just thought that was a one-time thing because, whatever. So like,
Blowing off steam, new
yeah,
mom, she's under a lot of pressure,
exactly. My son was
hormones.
But yeah, my son was born in early December, and so for Easter that year, we were going home to see my family, and he hadn't met all my friends yet, honestly, at this point. So like we were gonna have one night to go out with the friend group while my parents were watching the baby. I mean, we all know what happened, right? It's like I total T-Rex to the point where I couldn't even tell him my parents' address because like he was going to drive us back. So like one of my friends had to tell him the address. I was like just berating everyone, just being horrible. He had never seen me like that. And so and my parent when he told my parents, they were like, "Well, yeah." So the next morning they sit me down
They're
Easter
like,
morning. My son,
wait, she's not in
yeah.
jail though. So
Yeah,
this is a
right,
step
exactly.
up.
So this is just like not that bad. But so like my son's like 4 or 5 months old and they all like have like a mini like it wasn't an intervention, but it was like a conversation that morning before we went on our Easter egg hunt with the family and everything. And they were like, last night was unacceptable. You have a week. You have a week to get into AA or program something, um, or there's going to be consequences. Like this is just like it's my boyfriend and my parents, right? Just the two of them, or my dad, and my stepmom, and I'm like, you guys are overreacting. Let's not ruin his Easter, okay? Like honestly, like I again, like not owning anything. Like I'm the one who ruined it, obvious, very clearly now. But so we just went out with the day, and I'm like, I can't believe everyone's so mad at me. Like, this is crazy. And fast forward a week later, the next Sunday, that morning, my boyfriend is like, "Hey, honey, like, you haven't gone to a meeting yet. Like, are you gonna do that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I have all day. Like, calm down." So I like waltz into the like Wicker Park Alano Club, like I own the place, and oh man, it was like me and four dudes, and they were so nice, so kind. Thank God. Thank God it wasn't like a creepy bunch or a weird bunch. They were just like, there wasn't even a meeting. They just like let me cry for an hour and tell my story and whatever. And they were like, we want women to stick with women and men to stick with men. So we're not going to give you our phone numbers. Again, great move. Not everybody does that. And they're like, but we don't think you're going to call anyone. So here, like Michelle, whoever was on the phone. So I'm like, hello, and like, maybe my sponsor, it's like all this stuff. And that lasted a couple months. Like I was in and out for a while. Like, and I don't wish that on anyone. Like, it was so awful. I mean, it was so awful. Like I would leave meetings and go to the bar. Like I would like, our relationship ended. We co-parented very well since then, but only since I've been sober, I guess. Like there was other incidences, and then I was going to meetings for about 2.5 years, had 9 months sober, and and blew it. And then after that, I couldn't get any time for like 4 years. And so fast forward to
Tell me
getting,
about, because I feel like a lot of people have this experience, you know. Tell me about getting 9 months. And I know that getting 9 months for a lot of people, especially if you're going to meetings, is like hardcore. Like you're
yeah, it
into it,
was,
right? So
yeah.
what was the thing that made you just go, fuck it, I don't care?
So, I'll say in between that, when my son's father and I split up, my son and I moved back to Minnesota so I could be closer to family and more wreckage, more destruction happened there. And, got arrested again, not kidding. And it was like a really dangerous situation. That I don't really want to like go into that
That's
like
fine.
today, but it was awful. And but again, not my last bottom, as we know. And so then I was like hardcore in AA, like doing the thing, and we were in a custody battle because he was like, okay, like I let you kind of move home closer to your family so he could be like safe, and that's not what happened. So what's the point? So like we were going back and forth, and our son was like living with me for 3 weeks in Chicago, in Minnesota, and then his dad for 3 weeks in Chicago when he was like between 18 months and 3 years old. It was awful. So it was pure hell to like not have my toddler for 3 weeks at a time. Like, I mean, it was like the hardest time of my life. Like, so we ended up like the court was just going to drag on, and the judge at one point was like, "I'm either going to make a decision today, or we're going to have to like take this to trial. And if we go to trial, it's going to be all your family involved, all this stuff." And I was like out of money. I was paying more money to my attorney than I was to rent. At that point, I had borrowed from family, taken out loans. Like I was done. So I knew that if he said we're going to trial, I was just going to give in with like kind of like a list of demands, like you pay for us to move back, you pay for his furniture, whatever. And so yeah, the judge was like, yeah, no, we're going to keep this going. And I was like, nope. So my attorney gave his attorney a list and we moved back. So I was really like on shaky ground because that was definitely the scene of the crime. Like I did not want to move back to Chicago. I just did not want to move back. I moved back kicking and screaming. Got a great job. It was like the highest paid job I ever had at the time. And at the end of week one was going to be their summer outing to take a bus to see the Cubs play the Brewers in Milwaukee. So I had my Red Bulls, Stefanie. I was ready. Like I was prepared, except for I brought one of my old party friends with me instead of like somebody safe, somebody from the program, something like that. And so like before we even got on the highway, I was like, I can have a beer. I'm like, I mean, what's a beer? Who cares? And like, and my friend, she knew I was sober, but she was like, Are you sure? I'm like, Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like, that I'm not that person anymore. She's like, Okay, let's go. Blackout ended up where I did not need to be. They were so concerned about me because I just like left the game at some point and they were like, We have to get her on the bus to go back to Chicago. My brand new job that I had 5 days. And like woke up where I shouldn't, had to take a train back by myself the next day. And then I was in and out for 2.5 years. Like
That
could
sounds so
not get time.
reasonable though. I mean, I was talking to somebody or somebody said maybe like in a meeting that relapse, like what you think of as a relapse is usually after you've had a period of sobriety and then you make the decision to drink again.
Hmm.
But really, for somebody who has a drinking issue like I did, I had a million relapses. A relapse can just be that you go like, I'm never going to drink again. Oh, you know what? This is my last episode
Hmm.
with Sean Daniels. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
But like
Like the quizzes.
but I've had so many because I used to really separate that in my mind. Like, well, I haven't had a relapse, but I have many
Hmm.
times. I've tried to get sober very hard and then been like, this is too hard, or this is stupid, or I don't really have a problem, and drank again. And it is very hard to get your mojo back up. It's like anything. It's like if you're
So
on a diet and then you go like, screw it, I'm having some cookies.
yeah.
Sometimes, like for me, because I'm also a cookieaholic, then I'm off to the races. Then it could be a year before I can like
Yeah.
forego cookies again.
Well, and like it was like
Addictive personality.
yeah, it's same, right? And this is kind of like this is where I want my writing to take me, and this kind of like I have a Substack about it and everything, and it's like that we're all recovering from something, right? Like everyone, whether it's food, love, sex, workaholism, people forget that that's a real thing, right? Sugar, like, and if you really don't have
Phones,
any of these, what's that?
phone,
Phones.
phone
Oh my gosh,
addiction,
100%,
TikTok
100%,
addiction,
like
addiction.
all of it. Um, and so like it's like even if you really have never suffered from any of those things, we all know someone who has. Like you don't have to know someone who is necessarily an alcoholic, who's like into drugs, whatever it is. But like that like to have to save space for people who you don't know what they're going through, right? The whole like like just because somebody looks a certain way or whatever, like you have no idea what people are walking around with. Like I don't think people would like look at me and be like multiple arrests or all the things. And it's like that's where my story took me. And it could have certainly it could have been worse, but I hear in the rooms too like people are like, well, I never got in trouble, I never got any DUIs, and I'm like I had to have consequences. I knew about 2 months before I got sober, I said to my best friend at the time, I was like, I feel like I need to get back to AA and like meetings and stuff. And she's like, well, go ahead. Like, why, what's stopping you? I was like, I don't know. I just like, I feel like I'm waiting for like something to happen. And she's like, why? And then something happened, right? It's like, had I just, and I coincidentally, and this is what a lot of us do, I had been going to therapy. I had my first therapy session the week before that night. And she's like, tell me everything and tell me how much you drink. And I'm like, oh, just like the same as everyone else, like whatever, downplaying it. And yeah. And then like fast forward a week later, I had a session that morning and got arrested that night because she's like, yeah, I think you might have PTSD. I was like, I've never seen war. You know, it's like that's not don't have to see war. And I was diagnosed with ADHD too. So, shocker. Um, so anyway, so it was like I was kind of like dealing with all that, had a head full of that, and then just like burned my life down that night.
So you're living, okay, so take us to so this is the bottom.
Yeah.
You're la.
So what actually happened?
Yeah, although I think did you drink again after that?
Nope. That was
After
it.
jail? Okay, but you
Nope.
were still weren't sure. So
I
you
still wasn't
so you go on
sure.
this date with a guy
Hmm.
and then you're like, I don't like this guy. Then
Yeah.
you get in an argument with an Uber driver, I
Yes.
believe was the
It was
story,
a
or a
it was a
cabbie.
regular taxi because at that point I was literally banned from Uber and Lyft because my rating was so low. That's a thing, guys, that can happen. It's no longer. I have a great score now. Uh, but yeah, so I was trying to get into a regular taxi and he's like, "Sorry, ma'am, like I'm actually here for someone else." And I was like, "Your light was on. Like these are the rules." Like I thought I was like in New York or something back 10 years before. And I remember I had red hunter boots on because it was raining, and I was like kicking his door, like my rubber boots are gonna do anything, but like these, and it was like in the Gold Coast of Chicago. It was like right outside of Italy on Ohio Street, and like these cops were like noticing a commotion, and they walk over to be like, "What's going on?" And they were like, "Sorry, sir, you go on with your night. Like we got her." Like, and they were just trying to be helpful, wanted to get me where I needed to go, which was probably home to bed. And so it was pouring rain. So they're like, just sit in the back of our squad. You're not in trouble. You're not arrested. Like, just, but calm down a little, which women love to be told that. And so I get in the back and then I just had like a panic, I guess, because I realized the doors like did not open. And again, I wasn't really in any trouble then. But while they were talking, they weren't deciding what to do with me fast enough, I guess. I don't know. Again, I don't remember. But I spit through the partition. Like how gross. And so a little bit of spit got on both of them. So that was two felony assaults. And from there, I was definitely arrested, and it was not looking good for me.
So then you're
So
like, you needed to call work. Well, you needed to call your
someone,
ex-husband or your
yeah,
boyfriend.
because so
Wait,
well, we
your
were never
boyfriend.
married,
Right.
but
Okay.
yeah, um, it was a Wednesday, and he used to have my son on Wednesday and Thursday nights, and so we would do like 5 days on, 2 days off, 2 days on, 5 days off. So this was going into his 5 day on stretch. So in my mind, but like our son was still young, so we would still text every single day. Like he got to the school, this happened, homework, whatever. And so it would be really weird if I'm not texting him back. Like if he's telling me whatever, or if my texts were going on red, or if his texts were to me were going on red. So yeah, so like I didn't do my phone call that day because I thought I was going to be getting out. And so I'm in line, everyone's lined up waiting to talk to the judge. And every single person before me came out in tears. And I was like, and they were like, he's so brutal today. And like they had all been there, like they knew the guy. I don't know. And so I go in and my court appointed attorney, like she told me what happened. She was like, "Oh, and you have a job and you do this and whatever." She's like, "Do you have $500 in your bank account?" And I was like, Yeah, yeah, I guess barely." She's like, "You'll probably have a $5,000 bond, 500 to get out. You're fine. Like you're gonna be fine." I'm like, "Okay, okay." So I was like, "My turn." And you get like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and he's like, "Ma'am, looks like you didn't take care of all your stuff in New York, so we think you might be a flight risk and a $50,000 bond. Next." I was like, "What?" Like I had no idea what he was talking about because I thought I had cleaned up all my stuff in New York, and so it would have cost $5,000 to get out, which I did not have. And you also can't get out on your own. You have to have someone come get you. And it was like if you're not out by like 8 p.m., you're there overnight. And so it was like this. It's like a movie, really. Like so, then but it was still only like 2 in the afternoon. So I'm like, I have plenty of time now. I will take my phone call, thank you. But they put us through this like metal detector and all this stuff. And if you had a wired bra, you had to take it off and all this, whatever. So like anyone with a sports bra was like in luck. I did not because I was on a date. So so I'm like still in my red boots and the whole thing. And this girl like kind of like ruined it for everyone. She whispered to me that like she still was keeping her bra on, or I don't know what it was, but they sent us all back through. It took hours, like hours and hours, and I was the dead last one to have a phone call because all the numbers I had memorized were long distance. And they're like, "You can't call long distance." I'm like, "I don't know any local numbers." So it was just drama. And so I had to stay overnight, get issued the clothes, shower with everyone, the whole thing. And the next morning,
Now, I
yeah,
feel like I would have elected not to shower. Like I'm always telling
you
my
didn't have a
daughter,
choice.
you don't, oh, they make you shower?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Because I don't know. I don't know. But
They can't be that concerned with cleanliness.
well, you would think, but like they also don't want anything to break out. Like if somebody has like lice or so, I don't know, like I
Okay, so
assume it's
forced
because if you have some
shower.
kind of communicable disease or like something on your body, I have no idea. But
Okay.
they make you shower. And like so I was like, "Oh my God, I hope I get out the next day." Oh, so when I did finally get my phone call, they did let me call my father long distance in Minnesota. And at that time, by that time, everyone on the outside had figured out where I was and what was going on. And so when I called, and I didn't know this though, right? So I call and he's like, are you kidding me? Just starts laying into me. I was like, Dad, I have less than 3 minutes. Everyone else got as much time as they wanted, but they were like, you get 3 minutes. So I was like, please, we can talk about all this later. I need you to write some things down. So I was like, gave him my boss's email address. I'm like, send her an email, tell her family emergency. Boom. I'm like, message my friend on Facebook who I know looks at her messages. She's in town. Send her the money, get me out, please. Like all this stuff. And because he doesn't have Facebook, my stepmom did. And so and they and like I'm still friends with this person to this day. And she came to my wedding this year. And she knows my parents in this really weird way. And they make jokes about it now, but it's very funny. Like that, like coordinated all this in my head before I even got on the call. And I still didn't know. And then he's still talking and the phone hangs up. So I don't know. Is he coming? Is my friend coming? Is anyone coming? I don't know. So it was a Friday morning. So that was Wednesday night was late that I got arrested. So I was in jail that night. Then I was in jail Thursday night, Friday morning. Um, I'm sitting at the table eating warm milk and cereal or I don't know, whatever. And there's nothing to do. And there was like a stack of books, but they're all big books. That's it. Just big books. I'm like, okay. So
Big book of alcoholics is what you're
yes.
talking about. Like,
Yeah. So I
as
start reading the
opposed to
big
like
book and
large print Jackie
yeah, it was just
Collins
a normal one.
novels, Danielle Steele books. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. No more Daniel Steele. And then they called my name. They butchered my name over the loudspeaker, and all the girls were like, "We knew you're getting out of here today." And like, I'll tell you though, there was girls in there who had like been there for 2 months because they wrote a bad check because they needed to buy formula or stuff for their kids. And I'm just horrified. Like it's just horrifying that because they couldn't afford the bail, they're still there. I'm like, that's what we're doing with I don't know. I could go on about that, but
Why did I
so
think you were there for 9 days? Or had that
well,
been a different
10
story?
days was my college was when I had to report
Okay.
to
Okay.
jail after college. And, I went to school in north of the Twin Cities and it was Hicksville uh, jail. So it wasn't like anyone serious was in there.
All
But
right. So then you get picked up
get
by
picked
your
up
friend.
by my friend and she's the opposite of me. She's like Pollyanna. She's like a public school teacher. She's the sweetest person. Our kids went to elementary school together. And I was like, and then it dawned on me. I was like, aren't you supposed to be at work? She's like, yeah, I called in today. I'm here for you. I'm like, oh my God. Finally, so we had to go back to the jail that I got first was processed at to get my belongings. I had 183 missed calls, 200 text messages because I was supposed to go to lunch with people. My boss was wondering where I was, everybody. So I was just overwhelmed and I just felt disgusting and nasty. And I get home and I went to go shower and and before I got in that, I was warming up the shower and I called my one friend and she wouldn't care if I said her name, Kristen, that was still in the program that I knew from Chicago because I hadn't been to meetings in so long. And I was like, hey, it's me, and I was like, stuff happened and I had to go to jail. And she's like, uh-huh. She's like, remember that meeting we used to go to in Andersonville on Friday nights? Like, Jason was her boyfriend at the time. She's like, Jason and I will be there like we always are. We'll see you there. I'm like, did you hear me? I just got out of jail. I can't go to a meeting tonight. She's like, do you have someone else to be? And that hung up on me. I was like, what? What? So I showered, took a little nap, and then I went. I went to the meeting and been going ever since. She was a
Wow.
bridesmaid at my wedding, and I went, and then we both met our husbands 2 months apart. They have rhyming names, so I got to see her get married, and it's been lovely.
So
So
when you went to that meeting, you were just beaten down enough, right? I
I
mean,
was done. I was out of options. I was sick of my shit. I I didn't know. Oh, also, while I was in jail, my ex got a temporary order of protection against me, and he was like, "Get your shit together or don't. Either way, you won't see our son for 5 weeks." Um, so that I did not get sober for my child. I'll say that. I got sober for me, and lots of people have benefited from it. Obviously, my son. But when I tried to get sober for him in the past, it didn't work. So I can't make my child my higher power or my parents or anyone else, right? It was for me. But so I didn't mean to. I didn't really know what a 90 and 90 is, which is 90 meetings in 90 days. But I started doing that because I'm like, what else do I have to do? I'm facing criminal charges. I might lose my job. I might lose custody of my son. And I just didn't, I was like, okay, the only thing I know how to do is go to meetings. So I just kept going to meetings. And 3 days later, on a Monday night, I met my then sponsor at a women's meeting that she spoke. And I was like, I want what she has. Let's talk. And then when I moved to California, she moved to Florida, and she's still like a guardian angel in my life, and I love her dearly. That was before COVID, when like you wanted to have a sponsor that you can meet with in person and like see. And now lots of people have long distance sponsors. It doesn't matter, but so I credit her thoroughly for not being. She was exactly what I needed. She was kind and gentle and not like super pushy. Where I used to sponsor hop and had like I don't know. Yeah, I was all over the place before, but she kind of set me on a good path, and
The thing
and
is,
things
like,
started working out.
I was looking at something on Reddit the other day that was somebody just like trashing 12-step meetings. And I was thinking, what else do you have to do? I mean, it's not for everyone, and I can
Hmm.
see people feeling it's very culty. And somebody was
Yeah,
like, it's so
for
bad
sure.
for you. Then all you're doing is going to meetings. It's like, yeah.
Hmm.
And the alternative is getting arrested or, being
Jails, hospitals, and institutions, as we say,
right. It's like,
right?
it's what I don't understand, I guess, what's so bad about the idea. I mean, and listen, I'm not somebody who went to meetings all day long, but even if I
Yeah,
did, who cares? Like, but at the
right. It's better than what
beginning,
I
I
used
was
to be doing.
going like 4 or 5 times a week and I
Hmm.
made friends. And yeah, so yeah, I never got super religious, I mean, or even that spiritual. So what? So you say a prayer at the end. You're basically, here's what it is for anybody that feels that way or scared of it. It's like it's people telling their story. And for me, it was the ability to exhale and go, oh my God, I'm not the only one. Like other
That's
people
exactly
have
it.
felt like this. And then it makes you feel better and supported. And it's people that are like, nobody's pushy, nobody's coming to your house. Listen, I almost joined a cult before where people literally showed up at my house. It was the Namyoho Renge Kyo people,
Oh
and
my
they
God.
really want you to join up. And they came
Wow.
to my apartment where I was staying and tried to make me go to like a meeting. No one's going to do that. Nobody cares. Nobody really cares that much if you stay sober or don't.
No. And that's the thing. It's so funny you say it. So when I went back to what was my old home group, it was like a 7:15 a.m. meeting that met on Michigan Avenue. Everyone gets it in before work. So I crawl back there. I hadn't been there in 2.5 years. And I'm like, I wonder if I'm gonna know anyone. And they were like, hey, glad to see you didn't die. Have a seat. Like no, that wasn't special. They weren't like, oh my God, welcome back. Like we've had your seat waiting. They're just like, cool. Like they were just happy that I was alive. And I sat in the corner and just like cried for 10 days. And finally this old timer, she was like, are you gonna talk? Are you gonna share and like let people get to know you again and like tell us what's going on so you can help other people? I'm like, oh, you think they want to hear my story? You know, get over yourself. Um, but like here's my thing: is it like does that 12-step program have the monopoly on sobriety? Absolutely not. There's She Recovers. There's so
Smart
many different things.
recovery. Yes,
Yes,
there's
the Smart Recovery. And what's her name? The Oh my God, I love her. She's an author too.
Annie
She
Grace,
no, no, no.
This Naked Mind.
I love Naked Mind too. Her best
Oh,
friend, not Holly, but the other one. Why am I blanking on her name? You know what I'm
oh,
talking about?
yes, we are the lucky
We Are
ones.
the Luckiest.
Yeah.
So she has a whole online
Lori,
community. Yeah, and so I did some of that
Lori
when
McKenna.
no, 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 no. It's Oh my God, it's gonna drive me. And her book is like on my shelf. I can see it. It's fine.
It's We
I'm
Are the
blind.
Luckiest, though, right?
Wait, yes, but her name is because I literally just got an email from her this morning because I'm on her email thing. Now it's gonna bug me. Oh, Laura McCowan.
Laura McCowan,
Laura
Lori
McCowan.
McKenna, Laura
Yeah,
McCowan. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
same thing.
Yes.
So I'm just saying it's fine if people want to poo-poo something they don't know, but like that's also literally in the big book, right? It's like contempt prior to investigation. Like you know nothing about it, but yet you're gonna trash it. And because you met one person who turned into a crazy person because they went into meetings or something, like one thing does not necessarily have to do with the other. And I don't know. I'm like, the alternative was much worse for me.
Nobody
And
goes
I've
to a
tried to
12
stay
step.
sober without meetings, and I was crunchy AF. Like I was not my best self, I'll
Yeah.
say.
And honestly, like people don't do something as drastic as sit in a room and go,
With
I'm an
strangers.
alcoholic to a room full of strangers
Yeah.
unless they are done, unless they feel desperate. I mean, that's why we say, like, I wish you desperation. I wish you to get to
Yeah,
a
the
point where
gift of
you,
desperation.
even if it's a high bottom, even if it's just
Yeah,
like you can not go to jail. I've never been to jail. I've never had the threat of having my kids taken away. My husband didn't leave me. I didn't have any of those things that people might look at and go, but nothing bad has happened to me. But I felt disgusting. And
yeah,
I knew
yeah.
for a fact that I would drive drunk again because I was
Hmm.
like, I have proven to myself at this point, I was 42, and I was like, that's much like you, but in a different way. I was like, but that's what I do when when I drink,
Hmm.
I make bad decisions. When I drink, I think I'm fine, and
Hmm.
I think it's fine for me to drive. Even though if I was sober and saw someone else do that, I'd be like, are you kidding me right now? Like this person's like, so I was like, well, I know that when I drink, that something takes over my personality. Maybe not T-Rex, but
Yeah,
something happens where I go,
something
I'm
happens.
better than you. How dare you question my drinking? Like, you're the asshole, not me. Like, that thing happens where I go, no, it's everybody else. Woe is me. Like, and I have to get home. So, of
Yeah,
course, I'm going to
exactly.
drive because I'm
Right.
fine. And then, because obviously the last time I drank and drove, was not the only time I've ever driven drunk, obviously, far from it. And also, once I had kids, and once I had three kids, I wasn't going that far or going out that much. So, you know what I
Right.
mean? I'm like, at the one opportunity that I have that I'm somewhere with my kids, I drive drunk. Like, who knows what's next for me? And when I woke up that next day, I felt that incomprehensible demoralization. And then I knew I was done. So that's why it works, because you already feel like I need help.
Yeah.
I give up. Right. And I think that it's a miracle no matter what. Like I said, no matter if you've
Like
gone
no matter how
down,
far down the scale
we have
we've
gone.
we have
Yes.
gone, you know. I mean, that's why like, the big book we were talking about, like it's split up into three sections in the back about stories of like they got it in time or like they almost didn't get or whatever the three things are. But it's like I don't want people to have to go all the way down the ladder that I went, right? And if somebody wants to just call themselves sober and not alcohol, like lots of people, I think one of the biggest barriers for people to take a look at their own drinking or to stop for an extended period of time or forever one day at a time is because they don't want to call themselves an alcoholic because it has the stigma still. And I'm like, that's fine. Y'all can call yourself whatever you want. Like it's like substance use disorder. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have that too. Right. It's also called alcoholism. It's like whatever. I don't care. I'm not into labels. I for myself call myself an alcoholic. I go to meetings with people who say, "My name is Tara and I'm sober." That's fine. I don't judge you. Like if you don't want to use that label, cool. Like is your life better today because you don't have alcohol in it? Great. But like don't let that stop
Same.
you from like like please for the love of God, don't let that stop you. Because it's like there's a saying, right? Like that I'd rather spend my whole life calling myself an alcoholic than trying to than the rest of my life trying to prove that I'm not. It's exhausting. I do not miss the mental gymnastics that it took to like plan my nights out. Who am I going to drink with? How am I going to pay for it? When's that going to be? When can I get out of here to go drink some more? Or I, oh, I
One
wasted
thing
so
that
much
helps
time.
me to stay sober, and I love talking about the staying sober part because a lot of people can get sober, can quit, right? It's the staying quit that's really hard. And one of the things that I do is I look at how often I've gone back and forth with sugar, right? So for me, sugar is a real addiction. And if I have cookies or cake or whatever, I really can't stop at one piece of cake. Like, or I can, but it's that moderation, it's the mental gymnastics, but the cake's still in the house. So like
Yeah.
maybe I'll just have one more bite of a second piece, but I won't eat the whole second piece. I'm not going to do that. I'll just have one more bite because I don't feel full enough yet, right? And then it's fuck it, I'm just going to have the second piece. And then I have the second piece and it's like, well, now you had two pieces of cake, you
Yeah.
big
What's one
pig.
more?
So what might as well just eat the rest of the freaking cake. It's that thinking, okay, so what I do is I take that and whenever I go, it's been 16 years since I've had a drink or whatever. My life is so different now. Like I could have, if I think maybe I could have a glass of wine, or if I see somebody enjoying a glass of wine and I go, wouldn't it be nice to just like chill in bed with my husband at night watching TV and have like one glass of wine, like he has one drink? I just remind myself, you've never ever, even when you have had one glass of wine, you
Hmm.
weren't happy.
No, you were not enjoying it.
Because this is what your brain does. And I go, I have more recent examples of how I eat sweets. And I go, this is what how you do substances. Why do you think it's suddenly going to be different with alcohol? Like, why do you think your brain will
Hmm.
revert from being that person? And I go, yeah, you're right. I can't eat candy. I can't eat one piece of candy. So I won't be able to have a half a glass of wine or one glass of wine. And even if I can, it'll be hard and I'll be overthinking it and I'll be like white knuckling it and I'll be like, nope, you already had a glass of wine. If you break that and you have two, then you're going to be worried about who wants to get back into all that when I could
I
just be
know.
like, I'll just not have it.
It's so exhausting. And you know, when I was in my relapse mode where like I'd like have a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I would like lie about my time. I mean I accepted chips when I didn't have the time that was because I was just so sick of my own shit. But I like I like the more time I got and the more time I got, I'm like, oh my God, this is how many more people I'd have to be accountable to as well. So like that was a big part of it for me. Like I would say like the mental obsession was lifted like fairly early. And for me, it wasn't like a physical addiction. And that's one of the other reasons that kept me coming out or coming back to the rooms too. Cause I'm like, I don't drink every day. Like I can't be an alcoholic. I don't drink every day. Like there are also people who can have a glass of wine every day or something to drink every day and not at all be an alcoholic, right? It's like what happens to you, or you could drink 4 times a year and absolutely be an alcoholic if it's like the reasons that you drink, right? It's like if you're drinking to get drunk, you're drinking to oblivion because you think this is your safe space or you deserve it, or like if you had my life, you'd drink too, or like all these things we tell ourselves. Like it's like, I don't, I don't miss any of that, and I don't care if people like think it's weird that I don't drink. Like when I tried to like try starting dating sober, I like toyed with like putting it on my profile or like whatever. And like finally I made a decision at one point that I'm like, before someone goes on a first date with me, they better know that I'm sober and that I'm a single mom. Like I don't want that to be an issue. I don't want that to come up. I don't want it to be awkward. Like that's who I am. So I
And
don't
then
know.
you met a guy,
I met a boy.
a
Yeah.
boy, and then he
Mhm.
accepted you.
Yeah,
You
he
told him
does it.
about
He's
your
never met
background.
T-Rex. It's great. He definitely like it's funny, like not funny. It's awesome that I have like my group of college friends who've seen me through it all. And like we're on like a text chain. It's like 12 to 15 girls deep. Like, and he's just like, what is this even? And so they'll tell stories and he's like, yeah, I can see that. He always says, I'm glad I met you in this chapter, right? Like he's like, I'm sure you were lots of fun, honey. But like he's like super glad to have met me here. And like we say, like, he's a normie. Like he can take or leave alcohol. He barely drinks. Like, and when he has like half a Guinness, I'm like, why are you not finishing it? What are we doing? Why are you not ordering another one? Like you're almost done. He's like, because I'm good.
Same.
Like, what is that? Like, that's how I know too, because it's like it doesn't bother me when he drinks. Like, we got married in Mexico earlier this year at an all-inclusive resort, and I had some friends in sobriety be like, "Oh my God, are you gonna let people drink at your wedding?" I'm like, "Oh, A, I don't have a choice because it's like open season at these places." I'm like, I got so drunk at all their weddings, it's the least I could do to foot the bill at mine. Like, come on, like. But yeah, he's you know, and maybe I think he's seen flashes of T-Rex when I get like mad, or just like when I was on like hormones for the IVF and stuff. Like the nurse once said to us like, you might be a little spicy when you take these, and I was like, what? She's like, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, I know what you mean. So whenever I got like that, I was like, oh, spicy mama is coming. But so that's a little cuter than T-Rex, and
So
and I always
now,
remember what happened the next day. So.
yeah, and you have a baby
Yeah.
now, and you got to
Yeah.
experience like new motherhood sober. Like you
Yeah, and
get
I
to be
it's
present for it
it's
all.
fun. And I got sober when my son was 7, and so for 1 month only, Stephanie, I have a 17-month-old and a 17-year-old because he just turned 17 last week. And so and she just turned 17 months. So I when people get sober, they're like, "What do you hope for your life or whatever?" Like you're talking to your sponsor, and I'm like, "Ooh, I hope I don't get fired. Like I hope I don't lose custody of my son." this wasn't like I've never had a vision board in my life, but this would not have been on my vision board to like get married, have a baby at 44. Like, no. Like so it's like I couldn't dream big enough. Like I couldn't dream big enough for the life I have now. I tripled my salary in the first 3 years because they say like, oh, alcoholics have like a higher than average earning potential. It's like, yeah, when you put the shit away and you focus on your career and you get stuff done, the sky's the limit, really. So, so my career took off. We moved to California when I was 18 months sober, and my son's father moved here too. When we moved here together separately, we both transferred with our jobs at the time. He lives 5 blocks away with his partner. We got to have them over to celebrate my son's birthday last week and got takeout and played board games and it's such a different like it's like this is definitely the easier softer way. As much as like there was ups and downs with fertility and in things in my personal life, like none of the problems I have today, I would ever trade for the problems I had before. Like, I just put this on like, social media or whatever. I was saying like, there's a trend right now that's like, I'm not sorry. And then it's like all these things. It's like, I'm not sorry. I have like the highest credit score I've ever had in my life. Like, I'm not, like I made all the amends, financial and otherwise, and so it's just, I feel like I can breathe whenever I wake up and don't take a drink. Like I just feel like any problem I have is definitely solvable. It's never going to be as bad as it was.
So where are you posting all this fabulous sober
Oh,
content? Tell
yes.
us where to find
So
you, where we can read your Substack.
yeah, so I'll put it in I'm sure you'll put it in the links here, but
I
so my
will.
Substack is to look at recovering from something. Also, that's my Instagram, but my TikTok, which I just started like last week, and this is a hilarious experience for me. I think I'm too old for TikTok. I don't know what's happening, but it's at Tara underscore Ann, ANN underscore 79. But like my name on there is Tara SoCal Sober Mom,
Okay, well, I'll put all these
apparently.
links in the description.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I'm just trying to like on the side I'm trying to build like a public speaking career like just like as a side hustle like I want to go to corporations and talk about like how to support sober employees and like that all events don't have to be focused and centered around drinking, right? Like it's like our reward in society. We do it when we're happy, we do it when we're sad, we do it after funerals and weddings and like it just doesn't have to be. And even if you're not a sober person, like if you have to speak on stage because you're at a conference and you just want an option for a mocktail, like why is it just Sprite? Why is it like, oh, you get your drink coupon and it's like you can have a Diet Coke? Like make something fun for people. Like it doesn't have to be like all alcoholic,
I
And so I think
agree.
corporations just don't like I'll do a job well done. I'm sending you a bottle of wine. Please don't. I will absolutely take a coffee bean gift card, like all
Yes,
the lattes.
yes.
So,
All good
anyways,
thoughts. Thank you so
thank
much, Tara
you,
Motter,
friend.
everybody. What a
Yay.
great conversation. So fun. And you and I will talk soon, and I will
Yes, I
talk
love
to
you
everybody
dearly.
else
Thank
next week.
you.
Thank you.
Glad this worked out.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
honey.
Life